Hello gurus under construction. In this lesson, we're going to start talking about the if function in Excel and how it can change your life. The if function remains to this day one of the functions that I use most often due to both its flexibility and its simplicity. The arguments for the if function contain one required argument, which is a condition, and two optional arguments, which is the value if true and the value if false. So to sum up the if function in a nutshell, it returns a value if the condition you set is true, or another value if the condition is false. Remember when you were a kid, you would play that game where you would take a quarter behind your back and hold it in one hand and have your classmate guess which hand it was in? Well, the if function is the same way, only you get to be both kids combined. The one choosing and the one with the quarter behind their back. So let's say, for example, we want to create a column within our sales data here that lets us know which customers purchased over $100 in sales. We can use the if function to let us know in an instant which customers did just that. To get started with creating an if function, we'll go over what the arguments are and exactly what they entail. So to indicate to Excel that we're working with a formula or function, we're going to go ahead and enter that equal sign like we talked about. So we put in equal sign here, and then we type in the word if. And you can see there already in our example, it says exactly what this function does, which it checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if the condition is true and another value if the condition is false. So we'll go ahead and put in that open parentheses to get started with our arguments, and you can see right underneath it's actually displaying the arguments. So the logical test, this is also known as the condition that we talked about. So the condition is the value that has to be met in order for the value if true to be displayed within our active cell. So in this case, like we talked about, we want to go ahead and make it if the sales amount is over $100. So we'll go ahead and select our sales amount here, which is in cell B2. We select that and we put in the greater than symbol, and then we put in 100. So our logical test is going to be if our sales amount is greater than 100. We put in the comma, and now we're going to be working with the value if true. So in this case, we want to go ahead and make the value if true a text value, and what that means is we put in an open quotation, and that indicates to Excel that what we're entering is actually just a string of text. So we'll say that we want it, if the value is true, if our sales is over 100, we want the word yes to appear in our active cell. So we'll enter that as the value if true. We put that in there, and then we put in a second comma to start working on the value if false. So if our sales amount is not over 100, we want it to return a different value. In this case, we'll go ahead and make it no, but it can be any value that you like. So we're going to go ahead and make it no in this case, another text string, so we're going to be using those same quotations. If we like what we have there so far, we can go ahead and press enter to perform the function. Now you can see here in our active cell that it's returning no, and the reason for that is 3894 is not greater than 100. So the function is going ahead and creating a calculation in which case the value is not true or the condition has not been met. Therefore, we have the value if false showing up in our active cell. If we were to go ahead and change this value to, let's say, $101, now you can see that our active cell here with our if function has changed to yes. And the reason for that is that now our actual condition is being met. So the value if true is being returned in our active cell. So right off the bat, you can see how valuable a function like this can be when it comes to dynamically creating functions and being able to sort data you would like to see according to conditions you set. So to see exactly how the if function can help you sort data, let's duplicate this if function down our column so it returns a yes for all sales over $100 in the sales column. We'll go ahead and grab that fill handle, drag it to the bottom of our data set. And now you can see in our column C, all the values over $100 now contain the word yes, whereas the ones under $100 contain the word no. Now we can use the method we learned earlier on the sort and filter lesson to go ahead and sort this information on the accounts that have over $100 in sales. And we can do that by using the column we just created with the if function. We'll go ahead and sort on that column, which is top accounts, or column C, and we'll sort Z to A as Y comes later in the alphabet than N, which is the yes and no. So we'll sort it that way, hit OK, and now you can see all of the customers with over $100 in sales have been sorted to the top of our list. Also, just like we sorted here, we can also use the same filter command to go ahead and filter out the results we don't want to see using our newly created if function column. So let's go ahead and add in a filter just to see how this works. And we'll say that we only want to see those accounts that are over $100 in sales. We can go into the filter on this new column and just uncheck the no. So we know that everything that contains yes in that column are the accounts over $100 in sales. We'll click OK, and now all we have is the accounts that are over $100 in sales. So using the sort and filter on columns that we create using the if function can be a valuable resource when working with spreadsheets. Pretty awesome, right? Also, the if function's optional arguments are not limited to text or numerical values. The value if true and the value if false arguments can also be formulas or functions themselves. And this is where we get into what's called nesting, which we'll go into in detail in the upcoming Intermediate to Advanced Guru course, so be sure to take that to complete the journey to becoming a full-fledged Excel guru. We're going to be using the if function numerous times throughout this course. It's a very, very valuable function, and even in the workplace, after you're done taking the guru course, you're going to find that the if function is one of the most helpful in Excel. So don't worry if you're not 100% familiar with it at this point. I just wanted you to see what it does and be able to get an idea of the power of the function and maybe get some ideas on how you might use it in your own professional or personal life.